24 hours ago, Cliff Lee swung the postseason pendulum the Rangers' way, and tonight at Yankee Stadium, New York, looks for the equalizer. This American League Championship Series coverage on TBS is presented by Capital One Venture Card. It's Game 4 in the best-of-7 as the Texas Rangers take on the New York Yankees. Texas leading the series 2-1. Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the ALCS on TBS. I'm Ernie Johnson. This is Ron Darling, and this is John Smoltz. Smoltz, I'm going to start with you. You said last night that you thought the Yankees should go to their ace, CC Sabathia, in Game 4 with the team down 2-1, going on short rest. But Joe Girardi is sticking with his plan. He's going to A.J. Burnett in Game 4.
He is, and it's a gutsy call, and he's hoping to see an A.J. Burnett that delivered for them last year in the World Series. And one of the things that he can do, he's got the total package. He's got an electric fastball. He can silent a lineup with his curveball and his fastball. But what they need is they need a consistent A.J. Burnett. Why it's a gutsy call? Because A.J. Burnett has not been consistent. He's been the opposite of consistent. And what he's got to do is he's going to have a huge first inning, which no other Yankee starter has had. The Texas Rangers have jumped out ahead.
And the Texas Rangers have Tommy Hunter on the mound tonight, first time pitching in this ballpark. Enough about the arms, let's talk about the bats, Ron, and it's been all Texas in this series, really.
It really has. Ron Washington was asked about the depth of the Yankees lineup. He said, how about the depth of my lineup? And he has been right. They have been the best in this series so far. You see the numbers. They've also taken tough outs, 15 two-strike hits, and they've never trailed in the postseason. 4-0, they've outscored their opponent 24-2. And when you get to the Yankee side of it, Ranger fans are delighted everywhere. Both the ex-Rangers, Teixeira and Rodriguez, have struggled, and the entire lineup, if you take out Robinson Cano in this series, only 3 extra base hits for the Yankees.
Just a couple of minutes from now, A.J. Burnett will take the mound here at Yankee Stadium. He will be facing a Texas offense that features speed, it features power, and they've outscored the Yankees 20-8 in this series. The first pitch on the way.
The American League Championship Series coverage on TBS is presented by Capital One Venture Card, with double miles on every purchase every day. And brought to you in part by Nissan. Innovation for today, innovation for tomorrow, innovation for all. By Chili's, $20 dinner for 2. And by BlackBerry.
And we welcome you back to Yankee Stadium. Game 4 of the American League Championship Series. 57 degrees with virtually no wind. And the forecast is excellent here in the Bronx. This American League Championship Series coverage on TBS is brought to you in HD by BMW, the ultimate driving machine. Starting lineup for the Texas Rangers, who lead the series 2-1. Elvis Andrus at short, followed by Michael Young, whose bat has caught fire in this series. Then Josh Hamilton, who's homered twice. Vlad Guerrero hits cleanup. Nelson Cruz hits fifth and right. Then it's Ian Kinsler. David Murphy getting the start against the right-hander A.J. Burnett. Benji Molina behind the plate. And Mitch Moreland plays first. And all eyes on A.J. Burnett.
Yeah, there's a different tension today, Ron, than there was yesterday. There was a nervousness. You knew you had the pitching matchup that was in play. This is going to be a different type of game. And for A.J. Burnett, his grace period has to start in the first inning. For this crowd, for the atmosphere to be involved, it's a big game. When you look at A.J. Burnett, he's going to have to find a way to have quiet mechanics. He's going to have a consistent release point and let his stuff take over. Easier said than done when you have been struggling.
His last start came on October 2nd. His last win came on September 1st. And tonight, he carries the hopes for the New York Yankees, who trail 2-1. Elvis Andrus steps in. The Rangers have gotten out of the gate quickly in this series, and on the road they are 4-0.
You mentioned it, John. There's some tension, there's some anger, there's some nervousness, and it all might come out. You don't know which way it'll be directed towards AJ.
Quiet mechanics, let me explain that. He's had some electric arm. It looks like when he's going good, he's just playing catch with the catcher. There's no extra swing to his lower half. His upper half stays good, and the fastball is electric. But the key for him is going to be not only that, is can he command that curveball?
To center field. Curtis Granderson back. Plenty of room. One down.
Nice play there by Granderson. Tough and good, talented outfield. Speed of Brett Gardner in left field. Curtis Granderson with the catch, and the veteran Nick Swisher. Infield gets about as good as he can get. Rodriguez, Jeter, Cano, and Teixeira. And the only change doing the catching for A.J. Burnett today, Francisco Cervelli. First career postseason start.
In fact, the battery for the Yankees tonight getting their first taste of this postseason. Burnett did not pitch in the Minnesota series. Cervelli is yet to play, but they're in there tonight in Game 4 as Young falls behind 0-2. Talked about the quick starts for the Texas Rangers, and they have scored in the first inning. In each of the games here, 6 first-inning runs.
Well, here's a knuckle curveball, a pitch that he goes to a lot, and you see the buckle of the knees. That's going to be huge. Great sign to start the game. And some pitch he's got to have in his glove set and ready to throw, so he knows what he's going to do before he throws it.
Last time I saw hitters taking a strike three like that, Cliff Lee was pitching.
Good memory. Josh Hamilton fouls the first pitch away. Josh Hamilton in this series. Game 1. A bullet to get him on the board, and then last night got the barrel on one off of Andy Pettitte. This one is tapped to second. A.J. Burnett could not have asked for a better top of the first. You see Derek Jeter, you heard the voice of Bob Shepard on tape, the late Bob Shepard announcing the Yankee cleanup hitter. Curtis Granderson will hit second, then Mark Teixeira. Alex Rodriguez in the cleanup spot. You heard Ron talk about Tex and Rodriguez struggling in this series. Cano hits fifth, then Nick Swisher. Lance Berkman is the DH. Brett Gardner in left field, and Francisco Cervelli is behind the plate as they face Tommy Hunter.
Yeah, I feel for Tommy Hunter following the Cliff Lee exhibition. But Tommy Hunter is a, don't let that body fool you. He's an athletic, strong kid that likes to attack the strike zone. And he's had a solid year after coming back from an injury. And he's going to try and do the same thing that A.J. Burnett did.
Derek Jeter steps in and takes a strike. He struck out 3 times in Game 3.
If you're looking for what to see, a good sinking fastball, already the first one, above average curveball, he's got to keep the ball down.
That ball is hit on a hop to Elvis Andrus. Made that long throw look easy and just did get Jeter for the first out.
Oh, defensively behind Tommy Hunter, David Murphy is going to be in left field. Frank Core in the lineup. Hamilton and Nelson Cruz in right. Michael Young, Elvis Andrus, Ian Kinsler, and Mitch Moreland, who's got most of the playing time at first base. He's been outstanding. Benji Molina with those 2 gold gloves doing the catching.
Well, here's Curtis Granderson, who moves into the 2 spot against the right-hander. Swinging at the first pitch. And Mitch Moreland retires him easily for the 2nd out.
I can't tell you, for a relatively new experience for Tommy Hunter, how huge the first innings are. For as big as AJ's innings was, and it was, Tommy Hunter, you know what? It's crazy as this sounds. You come into a postseason game, you've got to get 3 outs. Sometimes the game gets away from you, and when you get 3 outs, then pitching is all about the things you do regularly.
Especially when you have never pitched in the Bronx.
Mark Teixeira is 0 for 11 in this series. He takes a strike. There's some facts and figures on Tommy Hunter. We'll get into more of his background as the night goes on. He's an interesting character.
Well, the Cowboys have been struggling. You sure they don't need him on the offensive line in the postseason after the year?
I work out with Tommy 3 years in a row, and I'm telling you, he'll body you up underneath the boards in basketball.
A long look in, and now Teixeira steps out. If I were going to ask you, look on this field right now and tell me which Texas Ranger was a former junior Olympic judo champion. It's the guy throwing the ball right now. A ball and 2 strikes.
See, my guess is always Josh Hamilton for everything, because he's the natural.
Well, he's 11 and 12 years old and won those judo competitions, junior Olympic style. He delivers the 1-2. And he gets Teixeira swinging. The putout made 2-3. Matching 1, 2, 3 innings in the first.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Office of the Commissioner of Baseball and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent.
Vlad Guerrero set to lead off in the top half of the 2nd. Game 4 of the ALCS. Thanks for being with us here on TBS. A.J. Burnett got him 3 up, 3 down in the first and starts Guerrero with a strike. He's just 2 out of 13 in this series. Their leading RBI man has not knocked one in this series and has just 1 in the postseason.
One of the things that's interesting about pitching, Ron, and we've all been through it, you don't forget how to pitch, but you lose your release point. And early on, so far, the release point is coming out, and that's what the thing you've got to look for AJ is, can he continue to find that release point on all his pitches?
And in this town, more than any town, any baseball town, confidence goes quickly here, and they'll let you know it. That is always a big problem for pitchers that are struggling. You lose your confidence, you lose your rhythm, you lose your ability, you become a pitcher who doesn't want to throw strikes, doesn't want to throw it in the strike zone. Well, when you haven't pitched in this long, to put this start in historical perspective, last pitcher to win a game in the postseason with this much rest was Red Ruffing in 1939.
Second strikeout for A.J. Burnett. Craig Sager is the 4th member of our crew. Craig.
Well, the Texas Rangers not only have talent, but they are gaining confidence and mental toughness. To a player and as an organization, they have responded to the mental coaching of Dr. Fran Pirazzolla, a neuropsychologist who formerly worked for the Yankees from 1996 to 2002. Now, he stresses visual and imagery, stress inoculation, and also selective reminding. He says he wants the Rangers to take the field relaxed, mentally and physically, confident and optimistic, highly energized, total aware, and in control. And by the way, he also has PGA Tour players as clients, and he said that he could get Smoltzy ready for that senior tour. EJ?
After that report, Sag, I'm already in a slump and got the yips.
Here's Nelson Cruz. As Burnett has fallen behind 2 balls and no strikes. You talked about the inconsistency, John, of A.J. Burnett in our open tonight. And when you look at the good and the bad, he started the season 4-0, ERA of 1.99, 6-2 through May, lost all 5 June starts. And then he rebounded from that with a 3-1 July with an ERA of 2. But then he finished the season 1-7 in August and September, ERA just under 7. The count is full. He pitched a simulated game in the course of this postseason, threw about 80 pitches, actually hit 2 of his teammates, Greg Golson and Austin Kearns, in that simulated game. Five up, 5 down.
You know, Ernie and John, this is a human game, and for most baseball people who judge talent, you would say A.J. Burnett just waking up in the morning is going to have a 15-win season every single year. That's how good his stuff is, but it's a human game, and it doesn't work like that.
Here's Ian Kinsler. Well, if you were going to draw it up, I know it's early, but from what you've seen of A.J. Burnett right now, he's dialed in.
Absolutely. Good low exploding fastball. And that pitch right there, that changeup has added a dimension. See, when you're pitching and everything's going good, you don't have to think too much. And when it's going bad, we all think too much. And I think that fine line between a file cabinet that he has in his mind, keep this feeling as long as possible, and then when things start going bad, that's when you're going to determine how you stop the bleeding. Do you go back to the struggling A.J. Burnett or the one that's capable of doing what he's doing right now?
Fly ball to right along the line and bending foul. Count stays 2-2.
Because sorry, Ernie, because what happens is when you start speeding up the game and he has to make pitches with runners on base, it's that confidence of the curveball with a runner on third. It's the confidence of the changeup. It's all those things that you want to be in tune with. You know what? 17 days kind of messes with that a little bit.
Third strikeout for A.J. Burnett.
In the postseason, there is a natural give and take. But to achieve ultimate success, dominance cannot go both ways. The man on the mound must make it a one-way street. It's freakishly good performances sending opponents into a tailspin and fans into hysterics.
The strikeout king.
It's pitching to near perfection in a duel for the ages.
Holiday has thrown a no-hitter.
See the best arms in the game hurling toward history. Watch every game of the League Championship Series on Fox and TBS.
Here is tonight's John Hancock leaderboard. Tommy Hunter, the Major League leader in winning percentage at .765 with his 13-4 mark. Ahead of David Price and CC Sabathia. You see the list there. as he goes to work in the bottom half of the second inning facing Alex Rodriguez. Hunter won 9 games in 2009. He was 9-6 for the Rangers. Went to spring training, suffered a left oblique strain before a start against the Brewers in March, and did not make his first start this season until June 4th. In fact, he had a complete game against the Tampa Bay Rays in about 98-degree heat in Texas, 6-1. Start was actually the 5th of June. En route to a 13-4 year. Hello.
Well, these pitches are great. They're purpose pitches. The only problem when you're facing a Yankee team that's been asleep the first 3 games can sometimes wake up that giant.
A-Rod hitting 154 in this series. He's 2 out of 13, has knocked in a couple of runs. And just 208 for this postseason, 5 out of 24. Count even at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Aside from that 8th inning uprising in Game 1 by the Yankees, the bats have been really quiet for a team that led baseball and runs scored. That guy hasn't been quiet, Robinson Cano, who's in the on-deck circle. But he's been the only one who has consistently delivered as the count goes to 3-2 against Rodriguez.
It's really the 2, 3, 4 hitters for the New York Yankees in this series are 2 for 36 with only 2 RBIs.
See if Tommy has enough guts to back that curveball up 3-2. See if he can get A-Rod chasing. He did.
That'll be easy for Josh Hamilton. Hunter's had good control, including the end of the regular season and into the postseason. Now he's on 73 hitters without a walk. Now here's Cano.
Dangers of putting such a unique defensive shift on Cano as you're pitching him away and hoping, as you see that huge gap between center and left, and then the ball he just hit down the line, you're hoping he's in pull mode. Otherwise, he's got a lot of room to play with over there.
That ball is hit to right and deep. And that ball is gone, although Nelson Cruz is going to complain about interference as Robinson Cano circles the bases with a solo home run. Ron Washington on his way out. Jim Reynolds is the umpire on the right field line.
Well, you could definitely have an argument that they interfered there, but it looked like the fans had kept their hands. Now, there's some definitely reaching out on the field by number 2 in the Yankee uniform. If they reach over and infringe, I don't know if Cruz could have made the play, but there are some hands in his face.
definitely think he could have made the play, Ron. His glove got pushed down by the fans reaching out. But it's not going to be one that they're going to look at.
Jeffrey Mayer is all grown up by now, isn't he?
Jeffrey Mayer play was a lot more clear-cut than that. But it's in the books as a home run for Robinson Cano, his third of the series. And the Yankees lead it 1-0. First time they've been on the board first in the series.
Yankees hope that the story of this postseason isn't that Robinson Cano was red hot, but that he had no one on base ever when he would get a hit.
We will be bringing you more angles of that Robinson Cano home run. Swisher grounds it foul. All right, let's take another look.
Well, the thing about Rule 316C is that it says that if a fielder goes into the stands to try to make a play, he goes at his own risk. But it seems like it to me that Cruz was on this side, fair side of that wall, and that the fans reached over and interfered. Very close call, though.
Swisher, who's 1 for 11 in the series, stays alive. That's Jim Reynolds, who heard from Nelson Cruz and from Ron Washington.
And if you watch Jim Reynolds' call on that, he pointed at the area where the ball went into the stands, pointed 3 or 4 times, which was hard to pick up for us to see whether he was going to call it a home run. But his call was he was pointing in the stands, he saw the ball in the stands, saw no interference, and then called the home run. That is why you're not watching the play being reviewed. He called the play, judgment call, that it was in the stands. They did not interfere, and that's why it was a home run for Cano.
And it's a 1-0 game. Yankees with 2 down now here in the second. That ball is hit right along the line toward that foul pole, and that ball is gone. Lance Berkman has launched here in the second. Here comes Ron Washington again.
And this one is reviewable. Two times Tommy Hunter's tried to come inside to Cano and to Berkman. It didn't work. Did he go over the top of the foul pole? Boy, that looks foul to me.
Looks foul.
It's not over the foul pole. And disappears and hides behind the pole. It's a missed call.
Well, the 6-man umpiring crew is gathered between first and second right now. And they will review it.
Once it's not high enough to go over the top of the pole, which is the toughest call for any umpires, but once it disappeared when we got the shot from center field, you know it's behind the pole.
Yeah, the crowd's not going to be happy with what we think is going to be a reversal of a home run.
By the way, this is only the second inning.
So you want to be an umpire down the right field line in the playoffs, huh?
I don't.
You know, to explain it further, the reason they're so far back or close to the first base, because the angle of which they've got to turn around and look is not the greatest angle. It's difficult to watch a ball. If you're closer to the foul pole and looking straight up, you won't see that ball as best as if you're farther behind. So that's why they're positioned the way they are.
You're right. You need to see the flight of the ball for 100 to 150 feet to be able to see that ball correctly.
So they did not go to replay for the possibility of fan interference on the Robinson Cano home run, but they will go to the replay here on the shot by Lance Berkman.
Not over the pole. Pole disappears. If it had been just inside the foul pole, there is a netting that comes down from the foul pole, and it would have hit that.
Great shot by our guys here at Yankee Stadium. And in the truck.
You know, the one thing that we have a problem here, though, it's got to be clear and convincing, because it has been called a home run.
Jerry Davis and the umpires who reviewed that have come back out.
An interesting no argument, Ernie, by the Yankees or Lance Berkman, who had about as good a view as anyone.
Davis came out of the area where they watched the replay and pointed foul, and so Lance Berkman back at the dish with 2 out.
And back to the start of this season, they were encouraging the umpires to get it right and get together as we look at another replay.
Great spot, shadow, spot, circle. Difficult call, but clearly foul.
You saw the ball disappear. That was a great shot, but then the question, you wonder, did it graze the foul pole going by? Appeared to be no change in direction. So Lance Berkman came that close to making it a 2-0 game, and the count 1-1.
Surprised they went right back in there with a cutter.
Now, this is why you have the replay, to get it right, and they got it right with this home run by Berkman.
A bullet. Look out.
I know you got a game plan with each hitter, but this is a perfect scenario to change it and go away and see if you can get him reaching for something away.
He's put a few pretty good swings on him here against Hunter in his first at bat in the second. Through it all, a ball that had home run distance, home run taken away by review. It's a 1-2 count with 2 outs.
Great try there after seeing enough balls pulled down the right field line.
Ian Kinsler at second took about 5 paces in toward the dugout, thinking that was strike 3 called. Now he retreats.
Well, what those 2 pitches do is it opens up a little more room back in, because if you continuously in there and he's pulling the ball down the line, you got to get his eyes thinking away. This is a very difficult pitcher or hitter to pitch against because of the power he has down in the zone. So you either got to bounce it, get it higher than high, or get the ball away.
There is the strike 3 called. Interesting inning, to say the least. Robinson Cano into the first row. 1-0. Visit TBS Hot Corner at MLB.com/TBS Hot Corner to sign up and watch live video companion coverage of this game and every ALCS game. Top half of the third inning. David Murphy leads it off against A.J. Burnett. .22 of Burnett's 28 pitches for strikes as we play here in the top half of the third.
You know, one of the things we didn't talk about it because we all know the struggles is if the Rangers can get on base and get him out of the stretch, look for them to take advantage of their speed as well and create some havoc there.
Command has been the issue with A.J. Burnett this year. 78 walks, number 8 in the American League. He hit 19 batters, which was the most in baseball. 16 wild pitches was number 2 in the American League behind Ricky Romero. And after being ahead 0-2 with a count full.
And part of that is the areas of the big area of missing. Like it's not just missing, it's missing whole quadrants. Trying to go away, pulling the ball in. Those are the kind of things that plays with your mind as a pitcher.
Murphy laid off and draws a leadoff walk in the third. Craig Sager.
Well, it's before the postseason 3 years ago that Major League Baseball instituted instant replay for those controversial home runs of whether they were fair or foul. They got this one right, and probably the two happiest people in the ballpark, umpire supervisor Rich Reeker was sitting over here in front of me, and also Commissioner Bud Selig. They obviously are listening to our broadcast. They have TV screens in front of them. They said it went very quickly. They got it right, and they couldn't be happier. EJ.
All right, thank you, Craig. Instead of a 2-0 game, it's a 1-0 game as Lance Berkman's shot toward the foul pole was ruled foul on replay. Here's Benji Molina.
.37 stolen bases allowed, most in the majors. It's one of the things you've got to now think of. Two things if you're A.J. Burnett. He's not going to be able to slide step. He's got it, but it just doesn't mesh well with his arm angle and the way the ball comes out of the glove.
Murphy stole 14 bases as A.J. throws over. While Murphy does have speed, he was bothered late in the year by a left groin strain and missed a little time. That ball gets away from Cervelli. It was in the dirt. Couldn't keep it in front. And Murphy's at second.
Well, the hard thing about if you're Francisco Cervelli is you get a lot of balls in the dirt, although you cannot field the ball like that. You have to anticipate that the ball is going to be on the dirt from Burnett. You turn that glove over and you block that ball with your body. He tried to backhand it, and almost every time you do that, it goes awry.
Well, the hard part is he's looking for a fastball away, and the ball tails down and in. I agree with you. You got to make that adjustment, but it handcuffed him.
Molina squares and takes one in the numbers.
Well, John, you were talking about it. As soon as he got in the stretch, he struggled a bit. We failed to talk about the long inning despite only 1 run. And here, trying to turn a slider over, it never breaks.
Actually, a good job to get hit by this pitch and not have it hit the bat. A curveball, you know, it's not going to hurt that bad. You'll take it for the team. And every player in the dugout's going, hey, we got ice. Don't worry about it.
Caught him on the back of the arm and glanced off his back, and he's at first. So the thing we talked about at the beginning of this inning, the bases on balls, the hit batsmen, the wild pitches, all entering the equation here in the third.
And this is where you got to get rid of bad film. Bad film meaning what is replaying in your mind of, okay, I'm going to get this guy out, stop it right here.
Here's the number 9 man, Mitch Moreland. He squares. Good bunt. Rodriguez made the play. The runners move up to second and third.
This isn't your parents' Rangers. These are the Rangers who can steal bases, take extra bases, sacrifice hits, do all the little things that Ron Washington wants them to do to execute offensively.
That's what I loved right there. A guy that wants to hit home runs and power. He's able to execute a bunt and help his team push across a run without actually getting a hit. Now the key here for Andrews is to see a pitch that he wants, find a way to put the ball in play and at least tie this game up.
Andrews handles the bat well. He's the Rangers leadoff hitter. Runners at second and third. We talked as the game began about the offensive production on both sides. Texas 12 out of 31 with runners in scoring position. The Yankees just 4 out of 26 going into game 4.
Interesting, the infield. A-Rod is all the way back at third base, but Teixeira playing even with the bag almost in at first base.
Murphy's got good speed at third. It's 2-0 to Elvis Andrews. Burnett sailed through the first 2. Retired all 6, struck out 3 of them. But here in the third, a walk. He hit a batter, and the sacrifices put runners at second and third.
This is one of those knee bucklers. Looks like it's going to come at you. It's this knuckle curveball with a different angle, more of a 3/4 knuckle curveball than the traditional Cliff Lee or David Robinson, who have more of an over-the-hand 12-6 curveball. You're at third base, and obviously you know the book is be careful, look for things in the dirt. Could be throwing something down to get the hitter to swing at. So there's all kinds of variables. As a pitcher and a catcher, you have to be able to trust that your catcher is going to knock this ball down if you choose to go down in the dirt with that curveball.
Toward first, Teixeira makes a great stop. The run will score. They get the out at first as Murphy scores to tie the game.
What a play by Teixeira. We talked about him playing in. He backed off with 2 strikes a little farther back, and on the short hop, able to backhand that play and make the toss. Easy toss to A.J. Burnett. No, nothing for him to do here. He had to make or die play with the backhand. Easy toss, and Burnett checks the runner at third base.
Now 2 down with a runner at third. And here's Michael Young. A tapper. Rodriguez cannot make the throw. Molina scores, and it's 2-1 Rangers.
Tough break for A.J. right here, Ron.
What can you do? Michael Young can run. Ball off the end of the bat. A-Rod knew he had to get rid of this quick. Couldn't get the handle, and once he couldn't, base hit for Young.
Let's look for Michael Young with 2 outs to definitely get in scoring position. See if he swipes the bag or lets their potential MVP swing away with him at first.
7th hit of the series for Michael Young. Here's Josh Hamilton.
So in an inning where in the bottom of the second, the Yankees were able to hit one good home run, one disputed home run, scored a run. Texas comes back in the next innings and scores 2.
And they haven't hit the ball out of the infield.
Michael Young now 3 for 3 with 2 outs and runners in scoring position. That is a huge statistic at this time of the year.
To third, Rodriguez throws across, but the Texas Rangers claim the lead in the top half of the third. Back after a look at the new film from director Clint Eastwood starring Matt Damon. Hereafter in theaters this Friday. This American League Championship Series coverage on TBS is presented by Capital One Venture Card. We move to the bottom half of the third inning. Here on TBS, it's Game 4 of the ALCS. The Texas Rangers with a 2-1 lead and a 2-1 lead on the scoreboard here in Game 4. Brett Gardner leads it off. Accustomed to seeing Gardner in the number 9 hole, batting 8th tonight. Francisco Cervelli will hit 9th. But wherever he is in the order, he's a nuisance.
Disruptive was the word that C.J. Wilson used.
And Brett Gardner would say you can't pay him a higher compliment. That's what he's here to do. Great speed. And great hustle. He will run to first on the third and now 4th strikeout of the night for Tommy Hunter. So if you're just joining us, that second inning, there was a home run hit, it appeared, by Lance Berkman. They reviewed it, said it was foul. Robinson Cano hit one into the first row right here. Nelson Cruz said he was interfered with. That was not reviewed, guys.
Well, it wasn't renewed because Jim Reynolds, his call is that the ball was in the stands. And then even though I think Nelson Cruz has an argument because his glove was touched by the fan, but the call by Jim Reynolds, a clear call, is that the ball was in the stands. Once he makes that call, that's not reviewable. The one, of course, by Lance Berkman is reviewable because you just have to see if it's fair or foul. And if it's clearly foul, then they reverse the call and they got it right.
And as usual, John Smoltz has the solution to the whole thing.
Well, I mean, you got to set back the walls in the outfield so the fan can't be part of it. I know the day and age where everybody wants to be on the action, in the action. But, you know, we've seen that play made 1,000 times where they've robbed a home run. I agree with you both here. They made the right call, but it's a shame that he wasn't able to at least rob that home run. Because you look at that offset there behind the wall, they're reaching over onto the playing field.
What is that, about 3.5 feet that separate the fans from leaning over the wall? They want to try to make a play. So you can see it from both sides. Absolutely, the ball was in the stands, a home run for Cano, but absolutely the glove touched a couple fans' hands, and like John said, did not allow Nelson to make one of those plays for the centuries.
Well, that's why my philosophy, Ernie, is you give up a home run, you make it in the second deck. You don't even mess with those first wall scrapers, we call them. Just make them, hit them farther.
I think we should send Craig Sager out and see if he could get a piece of paper in between the foul pole and that ball that Berkman hit. That was so close to that foul pole. Jeter takes a ball and a strike. to center field. Josh Hamilton back, and it's off the wall. Jeter around second, motoring to third, and he's in with a slide.
Just a little cutter that stays on the inside part of the plate and powered over the head of Josh Hamilton. One of the best center fielders in the game. Can't play the carom. And once the carom gets past him, great hustle by David Murphy to get over and get to that ball, or Jeter might have went all the way around.
A triple for the Yankee captain with 2 outs here in the third, and here's Granderson.
If you get out of this inning without a run, you gotta be awful thankful that he hit that to the farthest part of the ballpark, because it was only less than a foot from going out.
Upstairs, 2-0. You mentioned the prospects of an inside the park home run for Jeter. He had one this season in July, 14 years after his first one in the big leagues. And that first one, Joe Girardi scored in front of him. Girardi now is manager. A 2-0 pitch due to Granderson. That's hit hard. Off the glove of Kinsler. Jeter scores, game tied.
Two-out runs, backbreaker for the pitcher.
Well, this is just a 2-0 fastball right down the middle, and Kinsler almost makes a great play. Tommy Hunter struggled with his first 2 curveballs, and you see the dive and the short hop. It's a do-or-die play, and game's tied.
Here's Teixeira.
Time to go to game plan B. There are a lot of bullets being hit off Tommy Hunter right now. Change up there, first pitch. He stood up A-Rod in the first inning. Might have to stand up these left-handers a little bit, get them off the plate.
Yeah, well, the one Achilles heel, his first pitch, hitters are hitting 404 off of him this year. And then he settles down on a 1-0 pitch, is actually pretty good. Well, one of the things that happens, Ron, your heart starts racing, you start feeling like, you know, okay, he comes out of the gate feeling strong, getting the first hitter, an inning out, and it's just amazing what you can think about in the atmosphere, especially on the road at Yankee Stadium. If you're not Cliff Lee.
Teixeira struck out his first time. Hunter has struck out 4. But with 2 outs here in the third, they have tied the game on a triple by Jeter, a single by Granderson.
Teixeira was asked about this series and his struggles so far. He says you have to give a lot of credit to the Texas Rangers pitchers. They have not found the middle of the plate very often. Tommy Hunter is finding more of the middle of the plate in this ball game.
The records just keep on coming for Derek Jeter, who earlier in this series became the first player with 100 runs scored in the postseason, and now a balk on Tommy Hunter.
Tommy Hunter was worried so much about Granderson at first base. He tried to quick pitch to the plate. That's where you get the ball, but he did not take his time. And see, just from the separation, you have to bring that ball kind of to your belt buckle and pause for a second. He did not pause. Quick pitch. That's a ball.
Good call by Angel Hernandez. Most of the time, they give the pitcher the benefit of the doubt, but he did really nothing to show him that he had a pause in there.
The Yankees have already had one base hit with a runner in scoring position in this game. An opportunity now for Teixeira to pick up another. Granderson leads from second. That ball's hit right to Ian Kinsler, playing in short right. But Derek Jeter still got the wheels. A triple. Scores. And the game is tied. TBS this November, Lopez Tonight. The comedy continues right after Conan. Don't miss new episodes starting November 8th at midnight only on TBS. We make our way to the top half of the fourth inning. Vlad Guerrero, who struck out his first time, takes a strike.
Why not? Swung at the other one. See if he can get a little more.
Vlad is 2 out of 14 in this series. Burnett working in the top half of the fourth.
See, it's a pitch like that that kind of just throws you off, going, where did that come from? How come I threw it that short? And that's that release point that we're talking about. That's where it gets a little bit out of balance. Now he can come back and throw another good one, but you'd like to get him closer to have an effect for the hitter.
That ball's hit to right and will be out of play. Given A.J. Burnett's situation, given the long time off, given the struggles, what's your best expectation going into this game if you're Joe Girardi?
Well, 6 innings. You got to think A.J. Burnett's got to think 6 innings. Fight your way through the game like he's doing. I mean, arguably could have not given up a run.
Right up the middle for a leadoff single here in the fourth.
But it's a battle. It's a battle within the game to say, okay, I'm the guy. I'm going to prove my manager right. I'm going to quiet the critics, but 1 inning at a time. Find a way to get out of that inning. Find a way to use your fastball. You know, and then you look at that 0-2 real quick, and then the next 2 pitches weren't even close, and it resets the batter. And he gets to a pitch where he can handle it, and now he got a base hit.
I'm not going to even use innings, John. The Yankees would be happy when he leaves, the game's tied. Give him a chance. Give his team a chance to win.
Here's Nelson Cruz. Swinging at the first pitch. Teixeira with a long run. And just does run out of room. That would have been an incredible catch as he was going full tilt.
A little different here now. Padding on the walls here, so you can go in there pretty hard. Well, we saw him make an incredible play on the grounder last and giving up his body for that pop up there.
He's ahead of Cruz, 0-2. Cruz has 3 home runs in the postseason, 4 runs batted in.
You could argue that the Rangers have the Yankee pitchers where they want them. 16 two-strike hits in this series so far. To put it in perspective, Reds against the Phillies, they were 2 for 50.
One down here in the 4th. October is the postseason. In November is Conan. Tonight's aerial coverage made possible by AT&T. And Conan premieres November 8th. Right here on TBS.
That was a great curveball, not because he swung and missed and got a result, because a lot of hanging curveballs can be viewed to hang, but it was the height of his fastball that he just fouled off the pitch before. Made it look hittable in the zone and disappeared. That's what A.J. Burnett can do.
Kinsler takes down low. John, you hear when A.J. Burnett is discussed, when you throw as hard as he does, if you can just play catch with that curveball, that's all you got to do. Sounds easy. How tough to execute?
Well, it's very tough because you can't hope a pitch to the plate. You got to have conviction, and the only way to have conviction with a pitch is you got to know more times than not it's coming out of the same release point. I know we're pounding that down somebody's throat. What's the release point? Well, it's the opportunity to start a ball somewhere consistently enough to make it look like you're playing catch with that curveball. So yeah, easier said than done, but you can't hope a pitch. It's got to be a convicted pitch.
Cervelli backhanded that.
I'm surprised they're keeping that ball in play right there. How about that?
Just the AJ scratching at the mound. Somehow with his landing foot found a place that doesn't suit him. Do some yard work and back at it.
Looked like Cervelli thought for a second that ball was getting away from him. Either that or a deke of Guerrero at first. 2-0. Behind second. Wrapped up by Cano, who throws back. But Guerrero back safely. So 2 down here in the 4th.
Boy, Ian Kinsler would like to have that and swing back. A 2-0 fastball. Down in the zone, and he popped it up.
And Cano got rid of that ball so quickly after he caught it, just in case Guerrero had his back turned and was taking his time getting back to first. David Murphy walked his first time and scored the first Texas run. The Rangers scored their 2 runs in the 3rd on 1 infield hit. Had a walk, a hit batsman, a wild pitch, all in that mix. And now the game is 2-2 in the 4th. Murphy goes the other way. Brett Gardner makes the play for the 3rd out. 3.5 in the books in the Bronx. Catch all the action of the 2010 Major League Baseball postseason on TBS and Fox. As the commissioner, as Craig Sager told us earlier, Bud Selig at the game tonight. Watching a huge game 4 with the Yankees at home, but down 2-1.
I got a lot of great ideas. I'm waiting for him to call me, though. What do you think, Ernie?
Don't wait too long, John.
I've heard a lot of your ideas. I don't know if you want to share all of them with the commissioner.
Just in an advisory role, that's all.
Alex Rodriguez swings at the first pitch from Tommy Hunter here in the fourth.
Would you be compensated for that role, John?
No. I love the game too much.
Pro bono.
What's wrong, Ernie?
Pro bono. Very good.
You ain't right. The 0-1 to Alex Rodriguez. 0-2. He flied out to center his first time. He's 2 for 14 now in the series. Hunter tried to run it inside and missed, and the count even to Rodriguez.
This was a great pitch. This has got an opportunity to open up another pitch, and he just missed it. Good call by Angel, but it got the attention of A-Rod. Now he can go right back to the curveball rather than backing it up curveballs like he did before, if he wants.
The Angel John refers to, Angel Hernandez, calling the balls and strikes tonight. And he plunks A-Rod with the 2-2. Of course, the second inning of this game featured one home run that was reviewed and called foul. Another hit by Robinson Cano into the seats that was a source of controversy. And moments ago, we talked to Ron Washington about that.
He didn't feel like, the ball clearly went out the ballpark, but he didn't feel like the fans came on the field and impeded him from getting to it.
Ron, you got to be impressed, though. They score that run, and your team comes right back with 2 of your own.
Well, we executed that inning, was getting Molina to bunt. He got hit, and then Molin got it down, and, the rest was what you're supposed to do. Put the ball in play. Elvis did, got a run there, and then, Mike hit a chopper and got a run there. So just trying to do what the game asked us to do.
Thank you, Ron.
Thank you.
So here is Cano, whose solo home run in the second was his 3rd of the postseason.
Benji put down the curveball, but Tommy wanted to go to the cutter, and obviously his cutter has not been, Ron, where he would want that to be, to front door a cutter to A-Rod. And what you're trying to do to front door is you want to make it look like a fastball in, but at the last minute it comes back, and obviously it had opposite spin and went the other way and hit him. Right now we're going to have a little bit of the old throw over. Give him a little bit of time. Bullpen's getting going. It's not what you want as a pitcher. The clock's ticking, and you need to change your manager's view of how he is viewing you pitch, and you're going to get some throwovers here.
You need a ground ball from Cano on 2-0. It's probably happened maybe once or twice all season in his MVP type year.
Derek Holland getting loose. He appeared in game 1 of this series. And here's the ball in the second inning that Cano hit. His 3rd homer of the postseason, and in fact of this series.
You just see how quick he can get his hands in that area. Didn't hit it a ton, but he hit it just far enough.
So let me just get this straight. You guys are both okay with that call?
I'm okay with the call.
And no review.
I'm okay with the call because it was into the stands. But what I'm not okay with is that Nelson has an argument too, because It looked like he was not going to make the catch, but he was interfered with. His glove was touched by a fan, and in his eyes, he was on his way to making a great catch.
And to make everybody happy, I split it on the middle and say, hey, ground rule double.
Ground rule double.
Well, that's halfway. Could have made the catch. You could have not made the catch.
We're going to put you down the right field line in some umpire's uniform.
What was I saying to you about all your recommendations to the commissioner?
That wouldn't be one of them, but I just
shelved that one. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Okay, we brought up Jeffrey Mayer with Derek Jeter. And see, as I told you when we saw this, that was a much more clear-cut case of interference with the Jeffrey Mayer leaning out onto the playing field.
Well, the manager, Davey Johnson, felt the same way as you did, Ernie. Took that ball right away from the right fielder.
But on this one, I thought that Cruz was as much leaning into the stands as Cano singles to left. In short, so Cruz reached into the stands tonight. Mayer reached onto the playing field in the other.
I'm afraid that might be the end of Tommy Hunter. It's unfortunate. You always want to go out there and do as long and put as much work, but this is that shift we're talking about.
It was very interesting. Right before the ball was batted by Cano, Michael Young moving towards the line.
Well, they're going to wait and maybe pitch to Berkman, give him another hitter.
Well, you got to turn these guys around if that's why you're going to make the choice. The problem is if you bring in a left-hander, Holland, Berkman might be gone. They might bring in Marcus Thames.
Mike Maddox, the Rangers pitching coach, brother of your old teammate Greg Maddox.
He's done a nice job installing the philosophy over here that not only their president and owner, Nolan Ryan, he's really changed the framework of how you view an organization. When you think of Texas, you think of, oh man, those guys can match. They got to outscore people.
And he's got the greatest introduction of all time. I'm the pitching coach for the Rangers, and between me and my brother, we almost have 400 wins.
Absolutely. Greg and I won 6 Cy Youngs together.
There you go.
And 15 gold gloves or whatever it was. Whatever sham he pulled over the wool of people's eyes.
Nick Swisher struck out his first time. He bats here with 2 on and nobody out in a tie game.
Boy, Swisher sitting on curveball that first pitch. That's what will happen when you get these veteran hitters. He has started most of the hitters, especially left-handers, with a first pitch curveball. What happens your second or third time through? You start looking for it.
He has really struggled against Texas this year. 4 for 41 with 17 strikeouts. Jerry Davis at third said he checked his swing. The count even at ball and a strike.
Well, Swisher's trying to get off the snide. 0 for 7 with runners in scoring position in the postseason. But Tommy Hunter has really struggled against left-handers, and he also gave up 22 home runs in 120 innings this year.
He's ahead, a ball and 2 strikes. Alex Rodriguez at second. Robinson Cano at first.
Well, if he's going to go to the curveball, he's got to have it the height of that fastball that he just fouled off and pulled in. Make it look at the same height and then drop it below the hitting zone.
Hunter pitching in Yankee Stadium for the first time and trying to pitch out of trouble here in the fourth.
Hunter keeps going to his forehead. Little tension for him. And that's why these veteran catchers like a Benjamin Molina almost can coddle you through these innings somehow, some way to get some outs.
John, what would prepare you to pitch in this ballpark in this setting if you have not done that?
That's a great question. I don't know anything that prepares you. This is unlike any other stadium, maybe Fenway Park, but with the way that the crowd and everything, I just think you got to trust your stuff and find a way to carve and avoid first and second nobody out, obviously.
You bring up Fenway, and when Tommy Hunter goes to the memory bank, he can think back to his third big league start in 2008. Gave up 9 earned runs in 1 2/3 innings. So he walked off the field to a standing ovation at Fenway. He laughs about it now. Popped up. Will it stay in? Oh, right into the dugout of the Texas Rangers. Nick Swisher hit 29 home runs this year, 25 of them from the left side of the plate. Molina kept it in front. Count even. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Well, last night we talked about Cliff Lee and his stress-free innings. Be a little different tonight for Tommy Hunter.
I always say in these games, you can survive giving up 1 run an inning. 1 run. Stay away from the crooked numbers.
Swisher has really battled him in this at bat. Count full.
You can argue that Swisher took the best at bat against Lee last night. Another great at bat tonight.
Well, the pitch that has been the most comfortable for Tommy is the curveball. 3-2.
Got him upstairs, 1 down.
Ron Washington talked before the game about Tommy Hunter. He said sometimes he's a little loose, but one thing, he always will battle you when he's on that mound. That's one of the things he really likes about Hunter. Came back with that fastball, got it by Swisher.
Well, here's Lance Berkman, who missed by inches, I guess, or an inch from hitting a solo home run in the second. Originally ruled a home run, reviewed, and called foul. If you're just joining us, here's another look at it.
Or another cutter that did not get in. And reviewable, got the call right. Nice job by the umpires.
So once the review was made, Berkman returned to the plate and struck out to end the second.
This can go a long way for your team if Tommy can somehow get out of this inning. Your team's going to come in the dugout and have some reverse momentum of what could have been a big inning and vice versa for New York. You want to build on an inning like this and try to give your pitcher the cushion when he goes out there to pitch.
Grounded up toward first and just foul. Berkman hit 13 home runs and knocked in 49 runs in Houston. Then was dealt before the deadline to the Yankees. Only hit 1 home run and drove in 9 runs in 37 games.
This is kind of a strength versus strength. Best pitch for Hunter is his curveball. Berkman's always been a great breaking ball hitter.
Berkman did homer in the Minnesota series in the course of that Yankee sweep. Rodriguez leads from second. Cano from first. And Berkman just did stay alive. And you see that list of switch hitters going deep. Everybody chasing the Nick. But Lance Berkman on there with 327. Rodriguez was hit by a pitch. Cano singled to left. That's how they got there. Berkman waiting. And again, Molina made a great block as the count goes to 3-2.
John, if he throws a 2-2, is he going to throw a 3-2? He chose fastball with switcher.
Yeah, he did a nice job and mixed it up.
25 pitches this inning for Tommy Hunter. This will be pitch number 70 to Lance Berkman.
Watching A-Rod at second base. Will not be going here.
Into right field for a base hit. Rodriguez is around third, and they'll hold him up. And Ron Washington is making his way to the mound.
Chose the fastball down. Good pitch. Gets the ground ball, but finds the hole. A-Rod that was being held close to second. Did not get a big enough jump to score. Being held. And this is probably, when Frank Coors in this outfield, the best arms in baseball. Nice play by Molina.
Tommy Hunter's night is through. The bases are loaded in the fourth. We welcome you back to Yankee Stadium. And it's time for tonight's pitching comparison brought to you by Liberty Mutual. Tommy Hunter goes 3 1/3, and his night is over.
Well, he battled. I mean, this is what you got to do, and with the exception of one ball, he kept it in the ballpark, and hopefully his teammate can pick him up right here against a pesky hitter. See if they can limit the damage, if there is any, to 1 run or less.
You'll look back at that third inning, too, when he got the first 2 outs, and then Jeter tripled. Randerson knocked him in as the Yankees tied the score with 2 out. And here in the fourth, he began the inning by hitting Alex Rodriguez. Cano singled. He struck out Swisher. But then Berkman singled through the right side to load the bases with one out. And here's Derek Holland on in relief.
Well, Derek Holland did a nice job. He wasn't given much room for error when he came in the first game, but he's got what I consider swing and miss stuff, and he's going to have to get a swing and miss stuff or a ball hit right back to him. So that's about the only way you could turn a double play on this guy at the plate.
Brett Gardner up there with the bases loaded. Holland was part of that parade of pitchers that Ron Washington sent to the mound in Game 1 when the Yankees rallied for 5 runs in the 8th to take Game 1.
They used 5 pitchers in that game, the last one being Holland, who got in 2 innings of work.
Caught the corner for a strike. Michael Young in on the grass at third. Moreland right at the edge of the grass at first.
And David Murphy, the left fielder, can almost shake hands with the fans down the left field line.
Down even at 1-1.
Shallow and over.
It's going to be really important for A-Rod to get a good jump off of third, because even though he doesn't run as well, put the pressure on the player trying to either decide to go to home or get the out somewhere else.
That ball is flagged down by Andrews at short, who gets the out at third, but the run does score. Rodriguez crosses to make it 3-2. What a play by Andrews at short to get an out.
You just see what kind of range Andrews has. Broken bat in the hole, gets it with the dive, and has the wherewithal. The only play is in front of him. Too young for the 6-5 putout.
Watch Rodriguez and watch the bat. Wow.
Ouch.
Here's Cervelli.
It's a shame Brett's going to be getting a bill after the game.
Well, I'm telling you, we've seen some things with broken bats this year. We saw Tyler Colvin with the Chicago Cubs, and no laughing matter at all when he was speared by a broken bat. There's Steve Angel running that camera. That's not going to give us many real great looks the rest of the game, Steve. I hate to tell you that, but
I like it. That's a good look.
He's trying.
What do you call those things you look through and you spin them and whatever? Kaleidoscopes?
A kaleidoscope, yeah.
Well, we're just happy that Steve wasn't hurt with that bat.
Exactly. Well, runners are at first and second with 2 down now. On a 1-1 count to the Yankee catcher Francisco Cervelli, making his first postseason start tonight. That ball is fouled on the first baseline. In Cervelli's first 18 games this year, he hit .415. In his last 16, he hit .459. In the 176 at bats in between, he hit .188.
Yeah, that was the problem. The Yankees are battling tonight. Last night they were 0 for 20 against Cliff Lee with 2 strikes. 2 hits with 2 strikes tonight.
And Holland gets him looking to end the fourth. But the New York Yankees reclaim the lead as we head to the 5th.
The American League Championship Series coverage on TBS is brought to you by Subway. Try the newest $5 footlong sub, the low-fat Subway Club. Subway, eat fresh. And by E-Trade.
Top half of the fifth in the Bronx. Game 4 of the American League Championship Series, and the Yankees trying to even the series at 2 games apiece, lead it 3-2. Benji Molina takes 1-0. Molina was hit by a pitch his first time, came around to score, and he singles into left to start the 5th. Moments ago, had a chance to talk to Yankees skipper Joe Girardi about the night for A.J. Burnett.
I think he's been very good. You look at the 2 runs that they got, and it was a walk, and he hit Molina with the breaking ball when he was trying to sacrifice an infield hit. It was basically how they got to 2 runs. He's been really good.
Joe, you know your offense is definitely going to come back. You faced a tough hitter in Cliff Lee, but you got to like a lot of the at-bats you've had tonight.
Yeah, I think we've swung the bat well tonight, and, you know, we're a couple inches from a couple more runs. Berkman's home run, and then Tex lined out with the runner on second, so I like the way we're swinging the bats.
Thank you, Joe.
Thanks.
Runner at first now for Mitch Moreland.
It'll be interesting to see how A.J. pitches to Moreland without the threat of a stolen base on first base. Benji Molina there.
Moreland, a guy with some pop. He hit 9 home runs, but laid down a perfect sacrifice bunt his first time tonight. Another broken bat. Second for 1 and first for 2.
What a play by Teixeira. Not only to come up with this baseball, but watch him duck the bat. Get underneath it. Perfect throw to Jeter. And he got to throw a strike with the pitcher's covering. Nice job by A.J. Burnett just to get his foot on the bag. Last minute, just touches the top of that bag and gets his foot out of there.
A 3-6-1 double play. A lot of weird stuff going on in this ballpark tonight, fellas. Home runs being reviewed. Broken bats flying through the infield. Broken bat hitting our camera. And somebody made a great catch just below the booth. There again, the view from our first base camera, which was struck by the broken bat of Brett Gardner in the last inning. And here's what that looked like from this angle. You see this thing heading over toward the camera well. Oh, and a direct hit.
That's the camera that got the shot of Brett Gardner not touching first. I'm just saying. On the dive.
No balls and 2 strikes to Elvis Andrus. You know, you've talked, Ron, about this defense for the New York Yankees, and when we lay it out for the fans as the game begins, you see those who have won Gold Gloves, and Robinson Cano, the only one in that infield right now without one. But that bunch that you see around the infield from third to first, only 19 errors combined all year. The Yankees made the fewest errors in baseball, and you saw Teixeira turn a dandy moments ago. In the hole and past Jeter. A 2-out hit for Elvis Andrus. He's got 13 postseason hits now out of the leadoff spot for Ron Washington.
Well, the great thing about Elvis Andrus and the way he plays the game, you talked about it last night, that he's a winner, and that's all he cares about. He modeled his game after Derek Jeter, but He's just so fantastic with 2 strikes. Just tries to put the ball in play. 7 2-strike hits in this postseason.
Interested to see if we see a pitch out at any point in this sequence. Try and guess when he might be going. Because it's not if, it's when.
Well, more than half of his stolen base attempts come within the first 2 pitches, so he is ready to go right away.
He stole 32 bags in the regular season. That was good for a top 10 spot in the American League. And a pretty good lead over there with Burnett at the belt.
Again, just pointing out the difference between Michael Young and other second-place hitters. You talked about Jeter, although he's in the leadoff spot, taking a pitch to allow the stolen base. Michael Young is a very aggressive hitter. He's a first-ball fastball hitter. When he gets it, he's trying to put it in play.
Again, he throws over that a little closer. Young has 7 hits in this series.
Always interesting to me. You're trying to combat the stolen base. How do you combat the stolen base? You throw fastballs to the plate, try to give your catcher some time. Catchers love to call the fastball when there's a chance of stolen base. Michael Young, a great fastball hitter.
Burnett ahead 1-2. If you're just tuning in, Game 4 of the American League Championship Series, with the Rangers leading 2-1, but the Yankees leading this one 3-2. A.J. Burnett working in the 5th. He throws over again, and Andrews is back. Burnett scheduled to be the Game 4 starter when this series began, and even with the Yankees down 2-1, Joe Girardi sticking with the plan, not going to CC Sabathia on short rest. There goes Andrews. Cervelli with the double clutch. And he's in there, and he held the bag.
Well, big lead, and what a play by Cervelli. One hopped, picks the ball, and perfect throw there to second baseman Cano. Watch the slide, trying to get away from Cano. Gets on that bag, comes off. That back foot hit as he brushed a tag. Gets in there, keeps his back foot on the base by a cleat.
Well, he slid awfully late, had good speed going in, but slid so late that that was the reason why it was tough for him not to slide by the bag.
So a speedy runner at second, representing the tying run.
That's something coming into the game that was going to give him a problem, but he's done a great job in limiting how many guys got on first early on to create that habit.
Full count.
This is the part I used to love, and his pitching. This is you got a stud on the on-deck circle. 3-2. What are you going to pitch? He just made a great pitch. 3-2 fastball. Didn't go for it. Do you go with the hook, with the risk that he doesn't swing, and you walk him? These are the parts that within the game tell a lot about a pitcher and how he's feeling and what pitch he's going to select.
And he draws a 2-out walk. And that brings Josh Hamilton to the plate here in the 5th. Molina led off with a single. And then the Yankees on a broken bat with Wood flying all over the place. Teixeira turned a double play. 3-6-1. Andrews had a 2-out single. Young a 2-out walk. They're at first and second. Near the line, Brett Gardner reaches in and cannot make the play. That was a great try by the Yankee left fielder.
He's disappointed because he thought he would have made that catch. Let's see if the fans get in his way. Absolutely.
He definitely would have made that catch.
At least would have got some leather on it. And the Yankees might not be as big of a situation, but they have their Bartman play.
Brett Gardner had a beat on that. Would have been a nice catch, obviously. Wow. We will see if it is a Bartman moment. Ball and a strike to Josh Hamilton. Burnett a strike away from getting out of this inning.
Savelli, he's been amped up since pitch number 1. Blocks that ball nicely, almost runs right through Hamilton to get to that baseball.
He's been amped up since he looked at the lineup card. To center field. Steve Bartman's place in history is safe. The bullpen spotlight is delivered by UPS. Let UPS put the power of logistics to work for you. At the Rangers bullpen, and we've talked about game 1 in which the lead got away. Games 2 and 3 that settled down. And Derek Holland going back to work here in the 5th. The starter, Tommy Hunter, went 3 1/3.
Well, whether the Rangers want to admit it or not, Ron, they know this is a 7-inning game as far as before Mr. Mariano Rivera. We very well could see him in the 8th.
Jeter takes inside, 1-0. He grounded to short his first time. Delivered a 2-out triple in the 3rd. And then scored on Curtis Granderson's single.
That's a good call, John. NFL does it with the running game. Old-time basketball did it with the 4 corners. Yankees do it with Rivera.
Yeah.
To right. Cruz back. He'll play it off the wall. Jeter digs for second and has a leadoff double.
How many times can he keep doing it? They need a game, and he's coming up big. Triple and now followed up by a double off the wall in right center field. Sat back on that changeup. Outstanding hitting by Jeter, and even with Cruz's arm, no play on Jeter at second base.
So he passes Bernie Williams, who they put on the big screen between innings, to a great ovation here at Yankee Stadium.
One thing you get sometimes with inexperienced pitchers in the postseason. Team is trying to give you an out, and now you've turned this maybe into an offensive situation for Granderson with a 2-0 count.
Three balls and no strikes.
Well, that's a nervous smile right there for Mr. Holland. It's like Maddox talking about, you think, here, John. Just trying to calm him down a little after that walk.
Yeah, I mean, trying to get him back down through the zone. He was obviously up on all those pitches and didn't make the adjustment. He's just trying to give him a simple reminder of what the adjustment can be and what to look for, and try to know who your infielder is. If a ball's hit back to you, get him refocused in the game, which is something you can totally get away from in an atmosphere like this.
Well, Jeter hitting a double to lead off an inning with boxing is like a right cross. It kind of phases you for a second.
Jeter at second and Granderson at first with nobody out. And Derek Holland stepping into the engine room now of the Yankee lineup. Teixeira, A-Rod, and Cano. Teixeira still looking for his first hit of this series. 0 for 13.
Five straight fastballs out of the zone. This would be a perfect opportunity to go to another pitch to try and find the strike zone. Maybe a changeup or a curveball or something that.
You get in these situations sometimes with a lack of experience, and you want to power your way through this inning. The execution should be, and the only thought should be, something down in the strike zone, get yourself a ground ball.
There's a strike. 2-1. To third. Young steps on the bag and throws across, but pulls Moreland off the bag. And Teixeira slow to get up.
Holding the back of his right leg, that usually signifies a hamstring problem.
No matter what his batting average is, no matter how many struggles early on, he always hustles, always never takes a play off, and was determined to get to first base to avoid the double play. Unfortunately for New York, it cost him their very talented first baseman.
So Mark Teixeira here in the bottom half of the 5th inning. Help from the field. We will certainly update you, but
try to take it to that next gear, and you can see strained at about 10 feet short of that bag. And it's such a pain. It just knocks you right to the ground. You can't move another step. Gruesome to watch.
Well, one of the things that's an option for Joe Girardi is Lance Berkman goes from the DH to possibly first base. See how he plays it.
Problem with that, you lose your DH,
right.
and the pitcher's going to have to hit, which changes your whole bullpen scheme.
Marcus Timms will run at first for Mark Teixeira. One of those things that happens in a series that can change the entire complexion.
Swisher's got a few gloves, one of them being a first baseman's glove.
Another good option.
The runners at first and second for Rodriguez. Rodriguez 0 for 11 this postseason against left-handed pitching. The lefty Holland working in his 2nd inning in relief of Tommy Hunter. The look of resignation that was on the face of Mark Teixeira. Knowing full well what he had done to that right hamstring. And of course we'll see what the extent of that injury is. Holland ahead 0-2. Before he debuted in 09, Holland had only pitched in 43 minor league games and only 5 of those above A ball. Actually took the rotation spot of Rich Harden for a time this season. Rodriguez had a notion and held up. Ball and 2 strikes. Two balls and 2 strikes.
Trying to get Rodriguez to bite on that down and then slider, but not good enough, not close enough for A-Rod to bite.
Hit to short. The second for 1 to first. An inning-ending double play. So the Rangers wiggle off the hook in the 5th. That was smooth. Well, the wait for the NBA on TNT is almost over. It's LeBron, Wade, and the Heat against the Celtics, and the Rockets and Lakers on Premier Week, presented by Autotrader.com. 7 days on TNT. Michael Jordan among those in attendance tonight for Game 4 of the ALCS. NBA season opens up in a week.
Well, you know what? AJ's waited a long time to not only start this game, but from the second inning on, he's waited a long time in between innings to come out and pitch. He's done a really nice job under the circumstances of not your prototypical game.
Guerrero fouls it back. You saw the changes made defensively by the Yankees after the injury to Teixeira, who left the game clutching his right hamstring. Marcus Timms now in right, and Nick Swisher at first. Swisher has played 6 games at first this season and 255 in his career, so he's no stranger to that position in the course of his years in the big leagues. Burnett to Guerrero.
About the 2 defensive replacements, Swisher moving and Timms in the game. You can talk all about Teixeira struggling with the bat, but 2 beautiful plays tonight, and he gives them so much stability at first base. Both positions now, first and right field, are compromised defensively.
Guerrero struck out in the second, singled in the 4th. So he's 3 for 15 in this series. Their leading RBI man in the regular season yet to knock in a run. Timms will play that on a hop, and it's a leadoff single in the 6th. John, when you look back at that bottom of the 5th inning, the fact that the Texas Rangers were able to get out of that inning without the Yankees scoring and keeping the score 3-2, that's huge.
Yeah, if you're the Yankees, you don't want to have to talk about that inning in the postgame. That's really what you don't want to do, because that's what a lot of people are going to bring up. There was a chance for a knockout punch, and it went the other way. And see what the Rangers build on with the shortened game, as we talked about.
Went the other way. You lost one of your star players. It couldn't have been more tragic.
Nelson Cruz looking for his first hit of the night. He's popped up and struck out. Fourth straight inning that the Rangers have put the leadoff hitter on. Robert Chamberlain, who's been solid in this series after not pitching against Minnesota in the ALDS. And the count is 3-0.
There you can see, Ron, rotationally what happens. You know, you start getting out of sync. We already talked about the gaps of time to get out there. You got plenty of time to get out there and get your warm-ups, I understand. But the timing of that being quiet, just a little extra rotation causes him to miss across the plate.
Watch out on the 3-0. Taking all the way, 3 balls and a strike.
He won't be taken here if he gets that pitch again.
Cannelli's been known to be unleashed on the 3-0 count, but he took all the way. Guerrero leads from first. Grounded to third. Rodriguez to second for 1. Can't turn it.
Usually you don't have any chance to turn this. Took a while to get to Alex Rodriguez and makes a nice play in front of him. But one of the things he does here, 2 hands, gets the grip, and makes that perfect throw to Cano. The thing about the Yankees and turning the double play, Cano is about the quickest in the American League and has probably the best arm of a second baseman in the American League. So you never say die when they're trying to turn the double play.
Now here's Ian Kinsler, who has 3 home runs and 7 RBIs in the postseason. To center field, Curtis Granderson at the edge of the track makes the play. Cruz is going to tag, and he'll be in there. So Cruz hustles into scoring position with 2 down.
Well, nice job by Nelson Cruz going back to tag. Another hustle play by these Texas Rangers. Granderson did everything he could do to throw a little high. Not a chance to catch a speedy Cruz. Runs about as well as any big man in the game.
Could turn out to be a huge play here in the 6th if David Murphy. Murphy will not get a chance to swing the bat.
Well, there's history here as Molina waits on deck. The right-handed hitting Molina. August of this year. Burnett taken deep by Murphy in Arlington.
Ian Kinsler has had 2 pitches to drive, and he's just missed.
Wow. Cervelli had to climb the ladder to flag that down on the intentional pass, and that's, you always ask those questions, why not just put them down there? Because every now and then one can get away. Cervelli made the play, and there is Murphy trotting to first. They're at first and second with 2 out. Yankees obviously aware of what Benji Molina is capable of doing. These with the Angels homering in Game 1, Game 2, and Game 3 against the Yanks. He hit .444 with 3 homers and 5 RBIs in that series. And this ball is driven along the line and left. It's deep by the pole, and that ball is gone. Benji Molina has struck again. They walked David Murphy to get to the catcher, and he said, "Take that."
Fastball supposed to be down and away. First ball hitting is Molina. Deep into the night in left field.
Incredible how that ball stayed fair. It was an inside fastball, and it just never hooked.
Well, here's Mitch Moreland. That will end the inning. What a top of the 6th for the Texas Rangers. Benji Molina gives the Rangers a 5-3 lead.
The American League Championship Series coverage on TBS is brought to you by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. And by Liberty Mutual Insurance. Responsibility. What's your policy?
Bottom of the 6th inning. What a game at Yankee Stadium tonight. The Rangers with 3 in the 6th lead it 5-3. Robinson Cano leads it off in the bottom half against Eric Holland.
Question coming into this game, guys, was it intelligent to let A.J. Burnett pitch tonight? Well, now the question is, did he pitch too long?
One ball and 2 strikes.
Sorry, it is such a tough decision as a manager. You have to go somewhat on gut. You got to go on feel. You're always going to be second guessed. And certainly he was a pitch away from being proven right. The team could still come back, and it's all forgotten. We talked about the inning before that you don't want to talk about from the Yankee offensive, not getting it done, and now unfortunately, boy, the quiet crowd again.
Holland with the 1-2. And he strikes out Robinson Cano. Watch A-Rod on this replay. The home run by Molina.
Nothing needs to be said there.
And unfortunately, trying to go away laterally, goes back, and you see him pull his hands in. Does a great job, looking dead red the whole way. It's the only way you can hit that pitch. And it was a location nightmare for A.J. Burnett that got him that 3-run home run.
Here is Swisher with 1 down. To right. Chasing Cruz back. 2 down. Time to check in with Craig Sager. Craig?
Well, Mark Teixeira is in the locker room right now. The training staff working on him. They have confirmed it is a hamstring injury. I talked to Brian Cashman, the Yankees general manager, who was in the locker room with Mark Teixeira. He said that he will have an MRI as soon as the injury is assessed. They could petition to have an injury replacement. However, if they have the injury replacement, that means that Teixeira not only would not be able to play in this series, but if the Yankees advance, would not be able to play in the next one as well. So still a lot going on right now, but Teixeira definitely has a hamstring injury. The MRI will be able to tell you probably tomorrow how long he expects to be sidelined. Ernie?
All right, thank you, Craig. And you can see on the replay, folks, and we've shown it to you a few times, that it came before the slide. It's like he slid because he had already injured the right hamstring.
If he is replaced, remember, you can only be replaced with an everyday player. Pitcher for pitcher, player for player.
And again, to reiterate Craig's point, too, if you're replaced in one series, you are out for the next one. If the Yankees were to advance to the World Series.
And you just never know, John, when those are going to come. You know, this is the middle of the game, as loose as you're going to be, as warm as you're going to be in a game. Just that extra strain trying to get there and beat the double play.
Well, having played with Mark, nobody takes care of himself. I can know better than anybody. I mean, he just is so disciplined in his workout, his stretching, everything. When he comes to the ballpark, he is prepared. He may not always execute, but he is prepared. That's a shame to see.
He has played through a broken toe, a very sore right thumb, which never has really healed. And now it's the hamstring. Young at third. Pulled Moreland off the bag, but he still got back to retire Lance Berkman. 3 up and 3 down in the 6th. All right, time to open up EJ's mailbag presented by BlackBerry. Tonight's question from Marty from Washington, D.C. With the Rangers' improvement, will Nolan Ryan's idea of stretching out starting pitchers catch on around the league?
I sure hope so, because there's not really much to what's gone on today and the theories that exist today. Nolan Ryan, obviously a throwback, and he knows what it takes to pitch innings, to exercise, to work out, and certainly it's paying dividends in his ball club and throughout the minor leagues of his ball club. And you watch to see what kind of job he does in the future.
Listen, most organizations in baseball would misidentify Nolan Ryan. He'd never be able to work as much as he could work. He'd be on a 75 pitch count in rookie ball, move him up to 100 in AA, routinely pitch games with 150 to 200 pitches. But still a work in progress. The Rangers bullpen this year led the AL with 503 and 2/3 innings pitched. So they're still tweaking it a bit.
And it will be up to the Ranger bullpen to protect what right now stands at a 2-run lead. 5-3 top half of the 7th. David Robertson has come on in relief of A.J. Burnett and faces the Texas leadoff hitter Elvis Andrus.
Well, Robertson was roughed up last night's game, giving up 5 runs. Right back out there today.
Well, everything he throws cuts. He doesn't have anything going back to a right-hander, so he's going to stick with the cutting fastball and then a knuckle curveball that is hard.
And he gets Andrews looking to start the 7th.
There's a cutter right there that comes back over the inside part. We call it a front door pitch to a right-handed hitter. Very difficult to hit. Looks like it's going to be in. You got to get out of the way, and next thing you know, the umpire is doing his thing.
I always felt it was very difficult to execute also, because if you cut it too much, it's right down the middle.
Here's Michael Young. He knocked in the second Texas run in the 3rd. The Yankees scored first for the first time in this series in the 2nd. Rangers scored 2 in the 3rd. Yankees tied it up and then took the lead in the 4th. The difference, the 6th inning, as the Rangers scored 3 times. A 2-out, 3-run homer by Benji Molina.
Well, Molina, the 8th place hitter today. It really has been in this series the 7th, 8th, and 9th hitters in the lineup. 10 RBIs, 5 from Molina alone.
And the right move was made to walk the left-hander to pitch to him. It just wasn't the right pitch executed. So you can't question that.
Shattered his bat for the 2nd out. Sports fans, listen up to hear what some of the biggest names in sports have to say about today's hot topics, like Boomer Esiason on the Philadelphia Eagles quarterback controversy, or Doug Flutie on his top 5 college football teams. Check out Behind the Mic, presented by Allstate, exclusively on SI.com. David Robertson faces 2 hitters in the 7th, retires them both, and we'll be back. Welcome back. It's time now for a Bank of America game break. We update you on the Phillies and the San Francisco Giants from San Francisco. Cody Ross, what's gotten into him? Another RBI today. And Matt Cain outduels Cole Hamels as the Giants take a 2-1 lead over the Philadelphia Phillies with a 3-0 shutout. 7 RBIs in the postseason for Cody Ross. And they'll play again 7:30 tomorrow night on Fox with Joe Buck and Tim McCarver. So the 2 teams that played in the World Series last year, the Phillies are down 2-1. The Yankees down 2-1 heading into this game, and they trail here in game 4, 5-3, as Boone Logan comes on.
Well, just like Robertson in the 9th, Boone Logan pitched against Josh Hamilton in that 9th to start the 9th, and Hamilton hit a double.
Ron Washington has a few lefties he can go for Cano. Well, the Yankees only have one option of a left-hander, and that's it right here to face this one-hitter.
That double by Hamilton last night to the gap in left center field and skipped to the wall past Gardner. And the first pitch all the way to the screen. Hamilton began that 9th and ended it as they hit around and scored 6 times.
You know, you mentioned with the San Francisco win over Philadelphia, they don't have that Lincecum and Kane and pray for rain problem. They got 2 more guys right behind them that can throw some pellets too.
That ball is hit a mile high and deep to right. Timms is back at the track, at the wall, and it's gone. Josh Hamilton has homered for the 3rd time in this series. And it's 6-3.
This is up there, Ron, forever.
Fastball, middle. Timms with a valiant try. No need for controversy on that one.
Boone Logan is done. This American League Championship Series coverage on TBS is presented by Capital One Venture Card. Great look from above at Yankee Stadium, where some high hopes early in this game have been replaced by high anxiety. And Boone Logan has been replaced by Jabba Chamberlain after Josh Hamilton rode him out of the park.
Well, Java's been up for a lot of the ball game. They were considered using him against Molina, opted to stay with A.J. Burnett. Now in the ball game to try to clean up the 7th.
Well, we talked about it. The Yankee hitters were on the verge of blowing this game more open than they did in that 1 inning, and it certainly has come back to bite them a little bit. Now they're down 3. They had a 1st and 2nd, nobody out. And as we mentioned, you hope that's not the inning that they talk about, as the top half provided some fireworks for Texas.
You saw the captain Derek Jeter trying to keep his guys up. They're down 6-3. And Guerrero lays into the first pitch, and that's going to the gap in left center. This is a Texas team absolutely brimming with confidence away from home. They have outscored their opponents 30-5 in this, their 5th road game of this postseason.
And they'll go to 5-0 if they can hold this lead. Do not get Guerrero hot. 3 hits now in this game. Little hanging slider by Chamberlain.
So a rude greeting to Jabba from Vlad, and here's Nelson Cruz. Cruz 0 for 3, reached on a fielder's choice and scored in the 6th.
So far, 2 sliders. He got in the side of the ball a little bit, creating a little less break than you would want. Staying on top of the ball. He's got a great fastball, but he has to get that slider breaking from shin guard to shin guard, more of a 45-degree angle across the plate.
After not pitching in the Minnesota series, Jabba Chamberlain has been effective in a couple of outings for Joe Girardi in this series, but here it's jumping for him a little bit. Line double, and now a 3-0 count to Cruz. They're at first and second. Remember, this inning began with a called 3rd strike to Elvis Andrus. Michael Young lined to first. And then Girardi went to the bullpen to Boone Logan, who gave up a long ball to Josh Hamilton, and now Chamberlain giving up a double and a single. And here's Ian Kinsler. He's 0 for 3.
Be careful on the fastball. He's getting closer to squaring one up. He's just missed a couple of them.
Blooper over first, long run, nobody will get there. Guerrero scores. And they're at first and third with 2 out.
Well, he beat him with the fastball there, Ron, and just got lucky enough to hit it in between the outfield, or the infield and the outfielder.
Only person who could really get to this ball was Cano with his speed, but just dropped perfectly. And you're right, the little triangle there between the 3 fielders.
Here's David Murphy.
You've seen this before with Jabba. Most of the calls from the bench will alert the pitcher when to throw over. He will throw a lot on his own.
When Kinsler was picked off in game 1, Ron, it was Tony Pena who gave the sign from the bench.
And that was with Kerry Wood, who has a good move to first base. Jabba, not as good. And you would think that Kinsler would like to take the extra base.
And one of the reasons it's tough, you watch him come to a set, his feet are close together. Yeah. And when they're close together, it's a lot harder to separate them and spin to first. And it's comfortable for him, but that's part of the reason why that transfer of weight makes it a little more difficult.
Murphy walked in the 3rd and scored, was intentionally walked in the 6th, just in front of the 3-run bomb by Benji Molina. Rangers have added 2 more here in the 7th and lead at 7-3, threatening for more with 2 down. Rangers' last 6 runs in this game have come with 2 out. Kinsler on the move. And there was no throw from Cervelli. So they're at 2nd and 3rd.
No one covering here with Kinsler running. Going to hold your position, try to make a play. Pitching to Murphy. this time.
Two balls and 2 strikes.
Boy, close pitch, John.
Awfully good pitch, but it's just off the plate. Good eye. And now the two are going to get together to make sure they're confident on what this 2-2 pitch can be. You know, fall in the trap with a base open. You've got a couple options to do. But unfortunately, you know, the guy that's on deck is the reason why they're ahead.
All fastballs up until this point. I think you'd have to mix in something of a slider down and in. Try to get the strikeout. Again, walked before in his last at bat, being pitched to here.
Murphy caught looking to end the 7th, but not before the Rangers scored 2. So the score is 7-3 as they stretch at Yankee Stadium. And we pause to honor America.
Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. Will you please rise and remove your caps? Please direct your attention now to the microphone behind home plate. And welcome Emmy, Golden Globe, and Tony Award nominated actor Patrick Wilson. In honor of the servicemen and women stationed around the globe, he will now perform God Bless America.
While the storm clouds gather far across the sea, let us swear allegiance to a land that's free. Let us all be grateful for a land so fair as we raise our voices in a solemn prayer. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with a light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans, wide with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
If you are just joining us here on TBS, here's what you've missed of Game 4 early on. Robinson Cano, a solo home run. Nelson Cruz thought he was interfered with, but it stood. That one did not. Lance Berkman going deep, and it was reviewed. Mark Teixeira has gone down with a hamstring injury, and Benji Molina, an old Yankee nemesis, has done it again, a 3-run shot.
Big moment in the game, kind of like yesterday. If this guy can get on the base, they got to scratch and crawl and get back into this game. And he's the perfect guy to make things happen if he can get on base, Ron.
Brett Gardner is 0 for 2. Reached on a fielder's choice his last time. He was the first hitter that Holland faced in relief of Tommy Hunter, and hit a ball in the hole that Elvis Andrus flagged down. Did get a force, but Alex Rodriguez scored on the play.
Well, it's obvious that anybody that goes up there to kind of fake or bunt is creating some kind of concentration problem to throw strikes.
At the time, the Yankees took a 3-2 lead on that play. But now they trail 7-3. Benji Molina, we showed you the big home run he hit, a 3-run shot, as the Rangers reclaimed the lead, and then they added 2 more in the 7th. Hamilton's home run was the highlight of that inning. Count full now to Gardner, the number 8 hitter. To second, Kinsler's got to hurry, and does.
What a great job coming back after 3-0 to pour in those. You could read his lips on the 3-1 pitch. He was saying fastball, come on, fastball, trying to tell himself to pour it down the middle, and he did. Good job.
So when he came on, Holland in the 4th inning, he enters with the bases loaded. They do get a run out of it, but that's all in that inning. And then in the 5th, he has to pitch out of some trouble. Had given up a double to Jeter. Got the big double play ball out of A-Rod to end that inning.
He has been limiting damage since he's come in. 3 innings of work now so far for Holland. One of the unsung heroes.
Jorge Posada is going to pinch hit for Francisco Cervelli. Cervelli got his first postseason start. He's the guy who normally catches A.J. Burnett. Posada 2 for 10 in the series. Swings at the first pitch and fouls it away. He's 1 out of 8 from the right side is Posada.
Well, CeCe's got some big shoulders, and he's going to need them tomorrow. Andy Pettit 1 pitch away from matching zeros with Cliff Lee. A.J. Burnett 1 pitch away from an outstanding outing.
Tried to check but couldn't. And it's 1-2.
Well, as you said, Ernie, he came in, and I thought the best thing he did was limit that damage to just 1 run, and then he's been lights out since then, getting out of trouble and not preventing any more runs from scoring.
Two balls and 2 strikes. And when you look back to his performance in game 1 of this series, I mean, he was one of the last in that parade of relievers after Oliver and O'Day and Rapata. He was the last guy and got the job done that night, but the damage had already been done.
He was the sanitation pitcher. He's in there to clean up the mess. But these are the kind of guys you have to have on your staff in the postseason if one of your starters falter.
Posada works it full. It's a 4-run game, 7-3 in the 7th. Derek Jeter in the top of the Yankee order on deck. Two down in the Yankee 7th. Raise your hand if you already know the answer to this one. What's big, orange, and requires lots of hot air? Yep, I see it, Ron. The Conan Blimp. Tonight's aerial coverage is made possible by AT&T, and Conan premieres November 8th right here on TBS.
Tell you, when you're in that thing, it is a blast to look down at the stadium. It really is. You guys should try it.
You've been up there.
Yeah, you saw it yesterday. I mean, obviously, I wasn't up there when they showed it. It was before the game.
Computer-generated magic from our truck. Here's Jeter with 2 out. Jeter had his streak of 21 straight games reaching base safely in the postseason snap last night. But he's doubled and tripled tonight. Scored a run in the 3rd.
Holland, 5 1/3 scoreless in this series.
Boy, did he take something off and fooled Jeter. You saw that good tight shot of Holland and the big deep breath. You find yourself doing that a little more often, guys, in the month of October?
Boy, that and trying to find any saliva.
Can't catch a breath sometimes. That's where the hard work comes from, John. Routine, years and years. It worked for him there on the Gardner at bat. Went back to basics to throw 3 strikes.
To first, Moreland makes a nice play on the backhand side. And the Yankees are retired in order in the 7th. Top half of the 8th inning at Yankee Stadium. And the Rangers trying to take a 3-1 lead in this series. This was a huge moment in this game. Benji Molina launching a 3-run homer in the 6th. And the Texas Rangers have added 2 more after that, 7-3. And that man, Benji Molina, comes to the plate here in the top of the 8th against Java Chamberlain. As the legend goes in Puerto Rico, as Molina was growing up, he was undrafted. He was an outfielder at the time as a teenager and disappointed. Took off his spikes, tied the shoelaces together, threw him over a telephone wire and left him there. Fouls this one off the right side. Eventually did get the attention of scouts, and in his first trip to pro ball in Mesa, Arizona, showed up with a glove he had gotten at Walmart, a Lance Parrish catcher's mitt. Told me the other day, it's all I had. He became a 2-time Gold Glove winning catcher. And tonight has delivered a critical shot in this game, that 3-run homer. That's after David Murphy had been walked in front of him.
Well, we talked about the gutsy call, and it could have worked out. Unfortunately, he puts a cog in that, and the fact that we're even talking about you win that game, then you got CC on there, and then you're up 3-2. Who would ever think, if this game stays the way it is, the Yankees would hope to see Cliff Lee again? Because that's exactly what needs to happen if they don't find a way to win this game.
Right back where it came from. Leadoff single by Molina. Yep, the 10 RBIs out of the 7-8-9 hole, as you referred to earlier on. And Molina, the number 8 hitter tonight, is 3 out of 4. Has reached base every time he was hit by a pitch in the 3rd and scored a run. And here's Mitch Moreland, who's done a great job out on the 9 hole.
Really, the only thing left for Molina to do is steal a base.
Well, he has this series on a 3-2 pitch, but I know what you're saying. They're playing behind him. Why not? Now they're holding him on.
Getting closer. That foul ball, I mean.
I've seen you with the foul ball in the booth.
Yeah, you were a first-hand witness to that, Ron.
Just a fluke, man. Just leave it alone. I'm going to catch one.
You caught one that day, and but Ron wound up with the ball. For the second straight night, an eerie silence has descended on Yankee Stadium. Ron Washington's guys 6 outs away from a 3-1 lead.
Well, the history in the postseason with the Yankees is they pound on you late. And it's just been the opposite here with the Rangers.
And one of the things that could end up being, you didn't know it at the time, a blessing in disguise, is the way the Rangers got beat in the first game. I mean, not that you want that to happen, but everybody's been on edge. Everyone's come in and done a nice job since then, and you never feel like you're going to have a big enough lead against this Yankee team from that point on. You're always going to be stepping on the gas and trying to make it even better and more each time you're at the plate.
Robinson Cano, great play to get the force. 1 out here in the 8th.
Well, if you're going to get an out, I don't think you mind it here for the Rangers. You trade a little more speed on the bases.
A little more?
A little more. I mean, I'm trying to give the man his props. He's got some stolen bases.
What a play by Cano. I will tell you right now, this is some outstanding second baseman in the American League. He should win the Gold Glove.
Here's Andrews. He's knocked in a run tonight. One out of 4 with a stolen base.
His biggest contribution in this game tonight should never be overlooked. That play he made in the hole off Brett Gardner to get an out when it looked like the Yankees were going to have one of those big innings that they've had all season long. 52 times the Yankees scored 4 runs or more in the regular season, stopped by a great defensive play.
He was able to get the force at third on a play when Alex Rodriguez scored. Bases were loaded at the time, and then Holland got out of the inning, retired the next hitter. To right, where Marcus Timms makes the play for the second out.
I mean, not only the range to get to this ball, but also with the dive to know where he's got to go with the baseball. That's a play for infielders that they know going in. That's in their brain already. They know if they go to their right, they have to dive. The only place to go is third base. Great baseball defensive instincts by Andrews.
And then Holland got Cervelli looking to end the inning. The Yankees haven't scored since. And John, to the point you made earlier, stay away from the crooked numbers. You see single runs for the Yankees in the second, third, and fourth. Rangers 2 in the third, 3 in the sixth, 2 in the seventh.
I'm telling you, 4 solo home runs rarely will beat you, or the obvious 4 one-run innings.
Michael Young in the air to left. That will retire the side in the top half of the 8th. Curtis Granderson leads it off in the bottom of the 8th. Yankees with work to do, trailing 7-3. 6 outs away from a 3-1 deficit in the American League Championship Series.
They just keep rolling Derek Holland out there, John. 5 2/3 scoreless now in this ALCS.
Well, they got double barrel action in the bullpen, and I would think that, you know, maybe this is his last hitter, but I thought that possibly last inning too, and he kept making 3-2 pitches and striking out Posada and just doing a great job for a young kid.
Holland just turned 24 this month from Newark, Ohio, where they had a day for him last December. Might hold another one for him after this performance in the ALCS. 3-1 to Granderson. Upstairs, a leadoff walk in the 8th. Ron Washington will make a pitching change here in the 8th. And you see the pats on the back from Derek Holland's teammates. They know the job he did and the situation he came into in this game. And they're not where they are right now if not for the work by the young left-hander.
The 3 Series exemplifies the essence of BMW. It has the ingredients of the perfect sports sedan.
Everything is balanced, everything works in harmony, everything is perfectly engineered. That's why car and driver staff buy this car more than any other.
Get 0.9% financing, or for the first time ever, pay nothing down on a well-equipped 2011 BMW 3 Series sedan.
I actually had a girlfriend. She gave me a call one day and said, you know what, I think I'm a Boston fan. I said, you know what, I don't think this is going to work out.
We have bats, hats, mugs, t-shirts, keychains,
posters, bobbleheads.
I've been to at least 1,000 games.
You give your team 100%.
Rain, snow, sleet, I'm there.
Now get 20% off the ways you show it. Use your MasterCard to get 20% off MLB gear and access exclusive fan experiences. Because loyalty,
I will be buried in my Yankee jersey,
is priceless.
Here's a look at tonight's game summary brought to you by Raymond James. It's 7-3 in the bottom of the 8th. Benji Molina's 3-run homer was key. Mark Teixeira left the game with a strained right hamstring. And the Texas Rangers, trying to take a 3-1 series lead, have gone to the bullpen in relief of Derek Holland, who was solid.
And because of the injury to Teixeira, you can bring Darren O'Day in and face Marcus Thames and Alex Rodriguez, the 2 right-handed hitters.
Well, the one thing I'd be preaching right now, if you're Texas coach, is outs. Get outs. You can afford a couple runs, but outs. Let's get outs and don't create any kind of big inning or rally.
O'Day's their ground ball pitcher. They're looking for 2.
Timms came on when Teixeira went down. Four times in their postseason history, the Yankees have overcome deficits of at least 4 runs to win in the Bronx. And they are down by 4 in the bottom of the 8th.
Sorry, Ernie. One of the things that makes sidearmers so tough on right-handers, and we haven't seen the sweeper yet. It's kind of just staying there as a frisbee. The fastball's difficult to pick up, but more difficult than that is a ball that sweeps away. It's already starting low, and it has more of a looping effect and makes the hitter look a little bit less sure of what's coming.
A 1-1 sails outside, 2-1. He developed this delivery after he was cut by the University of Florida baseball team. He said back then as a freshman he only threw 85, 86 straight overhand. They cut him down there, and then in the summer, he said pitching in the beer league really to some older guys, he developed this sidearm delivery. Ball moved, he had more velocity. And this ball is hit down the line and left, but foul. And he said that after that he went back to retry out for the Florida Gators baseball team, and the coach there, Pat McMahon, said, "We've got a spot for you this time around." Wound up being the closer for the Gators as they went to the College World Series. The count to Timms is 2-2. One down here in the 8th.
That was the first sinking action that we've seen. I mean, he came in, we didn't get to see much of him before, but he's had a riser that he throws. Here's the sinker, and it swings right over the top of it.
Remember the first game he came in, threw one pitch to A-Rod, a sinker that was hit by Young at third base. Has not thrown that pitch until then.
Right.
How important was it in your guys' minds to see pitchers like O'Day come back in game 2 after letting the lead get away in game 1 and being effective in that second outing?
I don't think it was only O'Day. I think it was Oliver who had walked 2. He came back and had some redemption. Also, Rapata came in and got some outs, and O'Day also. All those middle guys that are so important in the 8th inning for Ron Washington and the Texas Rangers had a shot of redemption, earned it, and now have to have more confidence coming in on these bigger games.
Rodriguez takes it's 2-0, and O'Day going to have to fight from behind again, as he did against Timms.
With those outings, Ron Washington said, "I didn't lose any confidence in them. I believe in them, but they have to believe in themselves." And when you have success, you start to have belief.
Two balls and one strike. Rodriguez flied out in the second, was hit by a pitch and scored in the 4th. And in that key bottom of the 5th inning, and John, you said it at the time when they did not score, he's the one who grounded into the double play to end that threat. And then in the 6th, Texas reclaimed the lead.
You used to always tell yourself, didn't you, John, the only way to allow a team that's been put down and down by 4 runs back into the game, hard to give up 5, 6, 7 hits in a row, it's by walking people. Have to be aggressive with the lead.
Off the corner, count full.
And what happens is he knows this is his last hitter. There's no real reason to be perfect. Even a hit is not as big of a rally in this situation as a walk, because all of a sudden you're just giving it to them versus them earning it.
And plus the other side starts to feel that feeling of maybe coming back.
Granderson with a lead at first. Ball 4 to Rodriguez. They're at first and second.
Well, they crossed him up there. It was a slider call, and he threw a 2-seam fastball, and there was no chance to react for Benji Molina.
To frame that pitch, and that's another thing that happens with nerves in a game. Sometimes you don't always see what you see.
Well, they called for the slider, so he's looking at something that's going to break away, and instead it's a pitch going the other way. No chance. He got a good glove on it, but
so with a 4-run lead, couple of walks here in the 8th, have runners at first and second with 1 out. And Ron Washington goes to the pen again. Yankees have 2 on, 1 out, down by 4. Remember game 1? You saw Derek Jeter. You saw the bullet by Alex Rodriguez. Robinson Cano swinging at the first pitch to knock in a run. Before it was all said and done, the Yankees had scored 5 times in the 8th and swiped game 1 in Arlington 6-5. Tonight, they trail 7-3. And again, Ron Washington going to the bullpen for Clay Rapata.
And that hit by Cano in that sequence you talked about, Ernie, was off Rapata.
It was a first pitch fastball. I've watched him throw in warm-ups about 4 or 5 sliders in a row.
A couple to the backstop.
Which brings to mind the conversation we had with Ron Washington before game 1, talking about the fact he had added 2 left-handed pitchers to his arsenal for this series. To get out, the guy who's walking to the plate right now, Robinson Cano. Well, Cano had an answer for that with the first pitch against Rapata in game 1.
Well, interesting enough, he had 2 left-handers throwing at the same time, which tells you this is a 1-pitch or 1-batter approach for this pitcher, and more than likely you bring in your other left-hander to turn Swisher around.
Wow.
Cano is 2 out of 3. 7 for 15 in this series. And 3 of them are home runs, including this one tonight in the 2nd.
Well, I'm Tommy Hunter, cutter inside. Just gets this out of the reach of Nelson Cruz for the first run for the Yankees tonight.
Off the corner, 2 balls and 1 strike.
Well, the problem for the bullpen since this series started is the walks. The starters have walked only 13 for the Texas Rangers in the postseason and 14 by the bullpen.
The Yankees have not put a ball in play here in the 8th, and they have a rally going. They're loaded.
Well, you look here, and the first pitch, we guessed it was going to be a slider, not anywhere close to entice him. He does make a nice slider here, but then can't locate his fastball. Good pitch on the outer half, but you've got to be able to make what looks like a pitch enticing to a hitter, and unfortunately, that's going to be the end of Rapata.
Well, 3 walks in the inning by the bullpen that have been hesitant at times to throw the ball over the plate.
40-year-old Darren Oliver enters the fray. TBS this November, welcome to college. For these 4 freshmen, the rush is on. Don't miss the series premiere of Glory Days. November 16th at 10, 9 Central. Only on TBS. Well, how this setting has changed over the last 10 or 15 minutes. Inning began with the Yankees down 7-3. That's still the score, but the tying run is coming to the plate.
That's why I said you got to get out. You can't be on the defensive. You're up 4. You can give up a run here. Get a fly ball, something. Get out. Stop the bleeding. 3 walks. Makes it feel like the Yankees are going to do what they did in Game 1 with a couple big hits.
Talk about walks, John. This is the 3rd time that Darren Oliver has come into a game. The first time in Game 1, came in to face Nick Swisher. He walked him. Second game he came in, he faced Nick Swisher. He walked him. What will happen tonight?
Swisher is 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts. 1 for 14 in the series.
The other thing is you got to get, your infielders have been on their heels watching a lot of pitches outside the strike zone. They got to find a way to get their legs ready to be reactive to hopefully a ground ball from Darren Oliver.
Breaking ball over 0-1. Inside and darn near hit him.
Well, playing with fire, this slider tries to throw on that back foot. Looked like it caught his pant leg.
I'm with you, Ron. From both of those angles, it looked like it. Behind second, Andrews called off by Hamilton. No tag. One big out there for Darren Oliver.
Huge.
Well, maybe getting out of the way, Swisher couldn't tell if it hit his pant leg, but I swear the slider that he threw on his back foot just catches that pant leg right below his foot. Didn't look as much there as it did with the other looks.
Well, either way, you got to sell it better than that.
Yeah. That absolutely caught it. Watch it ruffle. Absolutely.
He's going to have to get lessons from Jeter.
Yeah. I was going to say you had the wrong guy at the plate if you're trying to sell that. 2 down now with the bases loaded. For Lance Berkman. 0-1. In the second, Berkman hitting left-handed. Hit a ball tantalizingly close to a solo home run. Just missed the foul pole. Originally ruled a home run, and they reversed it after the replay. It's 0-2. Much better hitter from the left side than he is from the right. Molina kept that in front, and here is that shot from Berkman we talked about in the second.
Called a home run, reviewed, waved off.
Berkman only hit 111 from the right side when he came over to New York. 2 for 18 with an RBI. He bats with the bases loaded, 2 outs in the 8th. And the Yankees down 4. Hit hard. Michael Young makes the stop and gets the force at second. What a play by Young. Darren Oliver gets out of it. Look at the glove on the longest tenured member of this Texas Ranger team. A little sleight of hand for the final out. Top half of the ninth. In game 4 of the American League Championship Series, and Sergio Mitre, the 5th Yankee pitcher, faces Josh Hamilton. In his last at bat, Hamilton greeted Boone Logan with a home run.
Well, Hamilton might have had the most unnatural path to stardom. But watching him in this series sure looks like the natural to me. Can do it all.
Then after struggling in the opening series against Tampa Bay, and really his first real action since coming back from the broken ribs, he's unloaded with 3 home runs in this series and knocked in 6 runs. That ball is hit right on the screws to right center field and into the bullpen. His 2nd home run of the night.
Only thing missing, Ron, is the bat boy handing him the bat or bringing him to the bat.
Wonder Boy.
And lightning and rain. A little, looks like a slider maybe, or a cutter by Mitre. It was more of a sinker ball pitcher. Stayed up in the zone, and that ball took about a half a second to get out of this ballpark.
Guerrero slowly to third. Rodriguez, he's safe at first as Swisher came off the bag. Another look at Josh Hamilton.
Boy, he keeps his hands back and just gets tremendous extension.
Takes that one hand off the bat after he's made contact. A normal man, that's a double in the gap. For Hamilton, line drive home run.
Remember, he made a mockery of the home run hitting competition when he was here in New York not too long ago.
Nelson Cruz cuts right through it. The lead now 8-3. As we play in the top half of the ninth, nobody out.
Ball pitch running at first.
As you saw on the screen, and as you heard from our ace stat man, Hal Galima, Julio Borbon running at first for Guerrero. Hal, the best in the business without question.
Never seen an environment of 2 consecutive playoff games where the game hasn't ended. A lot of people have left. It just doesn't happen here.
What would you do?
I hear you. It just doesn't happen. I've never seen it.
How far is this thing going to go? Second deck and left for Nelly Cruz. And the Rangers are in double digits.
Well, 0-2 pitch, down and into Cruz. So I guess he can hit 3-0 or 0-2.
Fourth home run of the postseason, first of this series for Nelson Cruz. Wow, for the second straight night, early exit.
Seven two-out hits now for 2 strike hits for Nelson Cruz. Go along with his teammate Elvis Andrus.
Nolan Ryan can't even hide the good feeling here at Yankee Stadium here in the 9th.
Well, and it's also 2 consecutive games where the Rangers have not scored just 1 run in an inning. Every inning has been a crooked number. That's what you talk about trying to avoid. You look up at the scoreboard. That's hard to overcome. And of course, they only scored 2 yesterday in the first inning, but then a big number in the 9th.
What the Yankees were able to do to the Twins in the division series, beat them late by outscoring them late, the Rangers have done in the last couple of games.
We're on something you talked about as we came on the air tonight, was the contrast in the offensive production of these teams in this series. And a snapshot of that is in the bottom of the 8th. Yankees down 4. They load the bases. Last 2 hitters can't get it done, so they're 3 for their last 30 with runners in scoring position. Rangers turn around here in the 9th and say a 4-run lead is not enough. We don't want to see that tying run come to the plate with the bases loaded. And they have unloaded here in the top half.
Nolan Ryan said that the only thing tougher than watching a baseball team that you are the president of and can't help on the field is watching your children play athletics. But tonight it's a little easier go for him.
Turning into child's play for the Rangers here as they try to go 5-0 on the road this postseason. Rodriguez to Swisher and got it. Swisher held the bag for the first out.
What a nice play on both sides. Got to get rid of it quick with the speed of Kinsler. And great play by Swisher at first base. Emergency at first base because of the injury to Teixeira. Short hop, keeps that left foot on the bag.
As we told you earlier, a handful of games there this year, but more than 200 games at first base in his career. Here's David Murphy. Murphy walked in the 3rd and scored. He was intentionally walked in the 6th in front of Benji Molina, who homered into the seats and left, which gave the Rangers a lead they have not given up.
Well, and as we mentioned, coming into the 6th, they were an eyelash away from getting out of that, and then you only really think about one more inning. They got to get outs before Mariano Rivera, and then it all unfolds, and Mariano hasn't been a factor the last 2 nights. As good as Cliff Lee has been to the starting pitchers in the postseason, this guy's even better, if that's even a fair statement, as the closers, because he is lights out. It's over, and it would have been 2 innings tonight.
Waiting for a chance, and no chance forthcoming here in these 2 games, 3 and 4. Game 5 tomorrow afternoon here at Yankee Stadium.
John, you talked earlier about that quick turnaround after the devastating loss for the Rangers in Game 1. It'd be interesting if that will help the Yankees tomorrow also.
Well, I think what's going to help is a real good CC Sabathia, and certainly he's going to start it out and return to the form that we're used to seeing him. You know, he's had a long bullpen session the other day, and you know, wasn't going to leave until he fixed some of the things that he was working on. And sometimes those can become very productive. Sometimes you got to walk out of the bullpen and say, okay, I'm going to wait till my next time on the mound.
There is no room left on the top step of the Rangers dugout. Standing room only for the Rangers, who are on the verge of a 3-1 lead in their first trip to the ALCS. Six, 4, 3. That's how the inning ends. This is how it started. Josh Hamilton went deep, and Nelson Cruz went deeper. This American League Championship Series coverage on TBS has been presented by Capital One Venture Card.
I know that guy. Lee Cardholder. He's a good friend of mine. No, really, I do. I mean,
LC you call him, don't you?
Yeah. It's about a 4 handicap.
We moved to the bottom half of the 9th inning. Yankees 3 outs away from falling behind 3-1 in this best-of-7 series, and the last time the New York Yankees trailed 3-1 in a 7-game series, it was 1958. World Series against the Milwaukee Braves, and they came back to win it.
You said you were 2 then?
I was 2 then.
Are you going to be in trouble, Ernie, for mentioning that?
No, as a matter of fact, I was going to mention earlier, but was sidetracked. You know that the shutout last night, 8-0, and that was the worst shutout in the postseason for the Yankees since 1957, when they got beat 5-0 in Game 7 against the Milwaukee Braves, who were led that year by Ernie Johnson, Sr. They also had Henry Aaron and Warren Spahn and Lou Burdett, but number 32 coming out of the pen was pretty darn good. Got himself a World Series ring in 1957. We're in the 9th. Brett Gardner facing Darren Oliver. Leadoff single in a 7-run game. And here's Jorge Posada. Posada struck out in the 7th, pinch hitting for Francisco Cervelli, who got the start tonight with A.J. Burnett on the mound. Gardner takes second, uncontested. Oliver was a member of the Texas Rangers pitching staff when these two teams first met in the postseason in 1996. He was a starter at the time. Grounder to Andrews for the first out of the 9th as Gardner moves to 3rd. Jeter has doubled and tripled in 4 trips. Well, John and Ron, how will the reigning champions respond to a 3-1 deficit? That's the question.
Well, they've got all the pieces and psychology, all the things you want to talk. I mean, they're going to respond with their pitcher on the mound, and they're going to feed off that. But obviously, Ron, to your open, they've got to start hitting, and they got to step on somebody when they have the opportunity to break an inning open.
And clutch hitting, but really, other than Andy Pettitte, they have not gotten the kind of performances you would think from their starting pitching as you see the offensive comparison in this ALCS. And until they get those kind of efforts and the kind of effort that CC Sabathia, who's 11-2 here at Yankee Stadium this year, it's going to be very difficult to try to slug with this Texas Rangers team.
Sabathia gets the ball on normal rest in Game 5. And C.J. Wilson, who pitched so effectively in Game 1 of this series, gets the ball for Texas.
What'd you say, John? Yankees can't wait to see Cliff Lee.
Yeah,
they hope
right
they
now.
get to see him.
Absolutely. Bring them on, because that means they're going to be in Game 7.
Little blooper that Kinsler wraps up for the second out. The Texas Rangers were the only team in the American League playoff field with a sub-500 record on the road in the regular season. They're about to be 5-0 away from home after taking 3 from Tampa Bay at the Trop and now 2 here at Yankee Stadium.
You know, John, you talked about that first game by giving that game really to the Yankees with the bullpen. It assured them that they always had to add on. Well, maybe winning those first 2 games at the Trop, then losing the next 2 at home and having to go back there and win that ALDS kind of toughened this Texas team.
Absolutely. They feed off the emotion of their manager. It's one of the few managers that is not afraid to show his emotion and let his players feel what he feels. And he basically marches out there. He did it back in the Old Timers game when he went to Minnesota and said, watch me deal in this game. And they were all top step like they are now, watching their manager go out and play and not just showing up, but actually loving the moment.
Mitch Moreland flags down the line drive, and the Texas Rangers are 1 win away from their first trip to the World Series. They lead the ALCS 3-1. The owner and president, Nolan Ryan, his team taking another step and look for the clincher in Game 5 tomorrow. Our final score tonight, the Rangers over the Yankees 10-3. Be sure to tune in tomorrow on TBS for Game 5 of this series. Coverage begins at 3:30 Eastern with TBS MLB On Deck, presented by Jeep. For Ron Darling and John Smoltz and Craig Sager and the rest of the crew, this is Ernie Johnson saying goodnight from New York. TBS is your exclusive home for the American League Championship Series. After the break, stay tuned for Inside MLB presented by Captain Morgan. Remember to drink responsibly.